up, I'll tell you. So vow, yes. You have a vow of disappointment, and I shall talk about that. So that can kind of go two ways. It can be that if you've made this, so if you have a vow, you've made a vow at some stage, whether it was in some kind of sacred ceremony, which is usually past life. Vows usually travel through more than one life with you. It's usually made as a very strong reaction to stuff that was happening to you at the time. So for example, a vow of disappointment, if you lived one or more lifetimes where you were continually being let down and continually being disappointed, well then surely it's just easier to be disappointed. So you make that vow, because the alternative is harder in your misconstrued thinking at the time because of whatever it is that's going on with you, pain, anguish, love, or loss of love, whatever. So it's a form of protection which serves in a skewy kind of a way, but at this stage we're kind of saying, no, I don't want to live those old ways anymore. The other way it can show up is you have the expectation of disappointment. So if you're looking forward to some great adventure happening, for example, and somehow you're attracting in some energy because that's the very strong belief that you have that you will be disappointed, in some way you're going to be disappointed about that. Even, and I'll tell you an example of that. I often use myself as examples. So for me, it's not a vow of disappointment, but it's around feeling responsible for everybody's take on what I'm doing, kind of. Let me just tell you the example. So we travel a lot. We're European. We like to travel, get on planes, go in places. And when I met my husband, I should say when I started dating him, we started going, we lived in, we grew up in Ireland and lived in London. And from there you can travel to Europe very easily. So I started going to Europe with him, and we'd go on different vacations, and I'd get there and I'd think, this is awful. I don't like this. I don't want. And so every single time we go on vacation, I have that reaction of, this is awful, I don't like this. And to the degree that now I know that that's what's going to happen. And then once I get over that, once I get through the energy of it, now it's not as intense or as strong as it was in those early days, because I've kind of learned what it is that's going on and worked on the issues. But it's a level of disappointment and a level of not liking change for me. So it's there, I recognize it, and it's like, oh, I don't like this place very much, and then I get on with it and I have a great time. So that's kind of a real life example of how that can show up when it's something that's set up as a very old pattern for you. So that's the depth of this vow.
I could see it. Yep, definitely.
So what we do for a vow is, I cannot clear the vow for you. I can clear the energy around the vow, and then at the end you're going to remove the vow. So I'll say the vow removal prayer and you just repeat it after me.
Okay.
So remove vow of disappointment. So the good news is that if you have a vow, you're not going to have any other homework.
I made it easy for me.